This episode of This Works for Us brought to you by HEB Sparkling Water. Are we getting paid for this?
Absolutely not.
Not yet, but we'll see what happens. We'll keep doing this until this takes off, man. I think it's a good thing to do to be a blessing to others. You know, we've talked about this before where people just for whatever reason, God is good for one. They see us and man, y'all blessed. And we're just we're just us. And we thank God for that. But welcome again to another episode of This Works for Us. Tonight, everything God said tonight.
Tonight is good. Tonight is great. Yeah. Tonight is the only time we get to record because we work real jobs. Yes. And our kids are extremely loud when they're awake. And they don't go to bed until 8:30. So this is when we record. So therefore, this works for us.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Well, tell the people a little bit about what we're talking about tonight as far as what one of the parts that makes a marriage successful.
So we want to talk about what it means to be selfless in your marriage. Mm-hmm. And handy dandy Google had a wonderful definition that I feel like just sums it up really well. And we can go from there. So it says, become selfless by laying down your comfort every once in a while in order to give comfort to your spouse. We each have different things we desire more than others. Meeting these needs preemptively for our spouse shows that we care about them. I mean, that was good.
That is spot on. That's good. Because oftentimes in a marriage, people always look for what themselves, like what can I get out of this instead of it being a we thing. Because when you get married, obviously the two shall become one. It's no longer I, it's we. We are a team. We have to decide on how this works and how we're going to make it work and how we're going to make it successful. And I do realize that, every marriage is different, but this should be one of the basic fundamentals parts of a marriage. Because I look at it from this standpoint of, I know you don't watch sports like that. So in the game of football, there's penalties. An individual may cause a disruption from the team, ultimately from, scoring a touchdown or trying to win the game. It causes, pain, heartache, anything else that you could think that could come from that. So oftentimes the team goes out and practice. They go over this play over and over and over again. But sometimes you have people that have egos that will want to be like, hey, well, it's about me. I'm trying to make it to the league. I'm trying to provide for my family. I'm trying to do this. I don't really care what everybody else is doing. I'm trying to do what's best for me. So they'll go out there and try to do something outside of the said plan that was stated. And when you get out there and start doing more of that destroys the mission for everyone else from heading to that ultimate goal of being successful. When we see those things happen, far as from a fan perspective, I know we'll get to you and you don't really do the sports. You don't do sports.
I'm paying attention.
But from a fan's perspective, you're like, oh my gosh, what was he thinking? Why can't he just go along with the team? Well, in a way, marriage works that way too, because we're a team. And as I stated earlier, people see, they're watching us. We're not doing anything to, per se to cause them to watch us, but people watch. And in this day and age, we always, I won't say we always, but we tend to project that marriage is bad when it's something great. You agree?
Preach. Yes. I think, yes, it's a team effort. But I also think that being selfless means that you step out of your comfort zone. And I can only speak, from my experience, and I tend to have to step out of my comfort zone a lot. I am traditionally, or what's the word I'm looking for? Either way, I'm an introvert, right? I prefer not to be around a lot of people. I do not get energy from a lot of people. And so it takes effort. Not that I don't love y'all. I do. I don't want y'all to feel like I don't love you. It's just who I am, right? So I have to prepare myself to be around people for a long period of time. And I say that more so like outside of work, right? Like when I'm at work, that's the mindset, I do my job. But when I get home and I have to do it as an extracurricular activity, then it takes effort.
It is a struggle.
It is an effort, right?
Struggle.
But I know that my husband enjoys people and gets energy from people. And so I think that I purposely keep that at the forefront, and know that like this is important to him. So I'm going to go to this event. But equally, I think he also realizes when I'm at my limit.
And that's where I have to, what I mentioned earlier, kind of like die to self, where even though it's something that I technically may want to enjoy a little bit longer, I do understand for the love I have for my wife is that if she's uncomfortable or she's reached her limit, okay, it's time to go, and that's fine. She did her or fulfilled her obligation to that, and I'm fulfilling my obligation to that. I'm not trying to, I guess, be like, no, we got to stay here and close the party down. I'm gonna tell you right now, those days are over with. I'm not trying to shut nobody's party down. I want to come home.
I don't even think we get invited to those kind of parties. So.
No, they know not to. It'd be 9 o'clock. Y'all leaving? Mm-hmm. We getting up out of here. It is late. It is late. We don't even like being out late.
Yeah, I don't like driving at night anymore, but it is what it is. I feel like super old just saying that. But I would also say that there are some times that you recognize, and I see that you recognize that today's not the day, right? So you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go for a few hours and I'm gonna come back, knowing like, yeah, she's not in that mingling spirit today. So I'm just gonna leave her be, and she's totally fine with being in the house, for a few hours by herself, or with the kids, whichever.
Yeah, because I'll for the most part, we have within this marriage there is individuality, in a sense, where in a sense, I'm not her world, in a sense, and she's not my world, in a sense. So that gives you're my world then. So don't. When I said that, like, don't try to go the other way. But either way, your life ain't revolving around me like that, to where you feel like you can't function or anything. So we realize that for each other, that we give, a little space here and there. If you want to go binge watch your Netflix like you do.
I feel like those like judgment, but I'm gonna let it
pass.
It's a little bit. Podcast. We're trying to.
No, man, it's truth. I go. I was just about to say I go in there because it's for my peace.
Wait, video game and the phone playing sports. Like, how are you even watching both of those things? You're not.
So as
anyway.
we were discussing being selfless in there.
See, I'm selfless, and I am okay with you watching and playing the video game.
Yeah. Well, we know that there's, couples that won't, I guess, allow each other to have their peace because they feel like, well, I need the attention right now or all the time, and you don't give that person their space.
Thankfully, we appreciate space between the two of us. I mean, we like being together, obviously. Yeah. But I think, just life, working and doing all the things and parenting. You want to have the time together, but you also want to like just have some space to like just do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do. Chill out.
And not have to answer to or engage, sometimes you just want to like chill.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include like having a whole conversation. Sometimes it does. Right. So we just go with the flow.
And that's what to I guess tie it back into a little bit more of the selfless stuff that, for example, we might have said it before where, I'm primarily the cook in the house and stuff. And I'll, fix whatever, gonna prepare. I'll fix the plate. I'll do that. These are not a requirement that I have her like, hey, well, I cook, you need to make the plates or whatever. I do it because of love. It's a servant's heart to that. That's my service to my wife. That's what I'm showing, love that way where I'm serving my queen and vice versa. There's things that we've discussed before where there's no, I guess, gender specific roles in this house. Today, for example, she washed all the clothes, and matter of fact, over the weekend, washed all of the clothes, and put that stuff away. And usually, sometimes I'll do that. I clean up the kitchen or something like that. But it's not one of those things where well, it'll get done. Somebody's gonna do it. You're gonna do it. It just doesn't happen that way. It's just having a servant's heart toward each other. It's not that these are not high expectations that I put on her. These are nothing that, again, that I'm selfishly wanting. Because if she don't do that, then I'm like, well, all right, well, she don't love me because she didn't do that, or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. It's not even that serious to be, maybe even get angry at that. But that's because people sometimes have not found happiness within themselves. And when you're looking for happiness from someone else, you'll never be fulfilled. It just won't happen. It just won't.
I think we have figured out a good way to feed off of each other. So if one starts to clean the house and the other one sees them starting to clean the house, like immediately it's like, oh yeah, let me help out and pick up over here. Mm-hmm. In a different area of the house. If one person typically does something and they haven't gotten to it, then the other person typically picks it up, and not with anybody asking for it. It's just like, oh, it didn't get done, and probably for good reason, right? So let me just go ahead and do it. But it's thinking about your spouse and what their needs are for the day, I think, because I think we all have good and bad days. And I think that, sometimes we are all ready to do it. And sometimes we're like, man, I had a rough day and I just need you to pick it up for me.
And that's when you push through sometimes too, because it could have been where both of us had a bad day. And once you, for the most part, get to know your spouse, and you can tell when, oh, well, they're not in the not necessarily the mood, but they're not their usual selves today. And they're like, okay, well, here it is, without even asking, they already know what to do, because it's a servant's heart that that showcases in that manner, because she doesn't even have to ask. I don't even have to ask for her to, do something or whatever. Like I said before, I am primarily the cook in here.
I feel like you like saying that.
No, no, no. I'm making a point. Okay. I'm about to make a point.
Okay.
I'm about to make a point.
Okay.
So, so, like I said, I'm primarily the cook in here, but sometimes I don't feel like cooking, or I may not know what to cook. And guess who picks up the slack on that? Kylie. No, but no, but
she will eventually.
I believe she's gonna be right in there with me. I already helped make sure that she made some brownies. Helped me make some brownies today. So box, just so y'all can get it out. Oh man, he from scratch. Box.
It was still good.
Yeah, it was good. But I just box, just letting y'all know it's okay.
It looked professional.
Oh,
had all the drizzle on it with the marshmallow.
Now I did that, with the drizzle. Now I've seen how they do it. I just took my little time and did all that. Now watch it. But she'll pick up the slack on that, and we'll have dinner, breakfast. Not so much.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a breakfast person. I mean, I'll make sure the kids eat, but I will go till like 11 o'clock.
And it's horrible too. I don't know why you need to.
My stomach is not ready.
You need to eat breakfast. It's important. It's important. Anyway, but that's just a couple of examples of being selfless.
Well,
oh, she got more. My bad.
Actually, it touches on all the things. One thing that we didn't mention, it says, ask for God's strength. Sometimes you just don't want to, right? You just don't feel like it. Maybe you just don't agree. Maybe I don't know, all the reasons, right? You just don't freaking want to. But I think anytime I feel like I get like that, I always bring it back home, and I always say, like, it's not about me. And I think that loving or doing more for someone else, it's the same concept of, like, reaping what you sow, right? Like, the more that I'm selfless and I give unto my spouse, truthfully, the more I reap, right? Like, he gives that back to me tenfold. So sometimes we have to hundredfold, whatever,
for a hundredfold.
But sometimes you just got to push through. And sometimes that means, like, Lord, give me the strength, help me through this right now, because he's on my nerve, that one nerve, and I don't really have any more left. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, he in general.
I don't say I don't by the nerve. Not yours. Not yours.
I was going to say,
not yours.
We can take a poll.
I already had something just happen recently. I don't know.
Church members.
No.
Why don't y'all chime in on that one?
Nope. So
Rashawn, drive you crazy.
Like she was saying, it's we all know it's better to give than receive. And it gets, it's reciprocated at that. So it's a wonderful feeling. Okay. You look at me. A wonderful feeling of being able to do that with my spouse. It's just, it just works out best for us that way. When we're able to put I wouldn't say differences, because we have differences, but kind of weird because it's not the normal or what it's considered the normal. Everybody else has these differences and stuff. But either way, we work well together as a team. There's no, we don't allow, any penalties to set us back, that we have conversation. That will be part of the team practice, like I was talking about earlier with sports. So having a conversation is the practice with going forward, whatever that you're trying to be successful in. We've talked about in the past, finances. We sit down, talk about it. Now, I will say, well, transparency. She's in it a little bit more than I am, but when there's certain,
hold on.
I was gonna say,
give you some credit.
I was gonna say, I was gonna bring it in. I was gonna bring it in.
Okay.
So she handles it a little bit more than I do, but when we talk about it, we set a goal and we're going toward that goal.
That's not what I was gonna
say. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say that as of lately, I don't know, 2 months, I've kind of stepped back a little bit. I still do all the things, right? The pay the bills or whatever. But you have been more involved, would you say?
I would say, yeah.
In the budgeting process, or even saying like, oh, did we do this? Blah blah blah. We should do this. So I appreciate that, husband.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And that's something that she didn't have to ask. And that's because I've in our practices before, conversations and stuff, I've already know the play. I already know what plays that's in set. There's a book, a playbook of where everything's supposed to go and where and how it should be divvied up. So because I know the play, it ain't like she got to be like, okay, did you do this? Did you do that? Move that over there. I already know because we had these conversations about it. And that's just the beauty of having that continuity of discussion, conversation, of planning and just moving forward to that ultimate goal of being successful or whatever the goals that you set forth. Thank you. Thank you.
I think at the end of the day, it's about knowing your spouse, knowing what their needs are, and being okay with putting their needs before yours sometimes. Not saying don't take care of yourself, because you should take care of yourself, love on yourself. But it's also nice to put your spouse's needs before yours. And then vice versa. So therefore, technically, each of you are taken care of.
Yeah. Like I've told or had conversations with some people at work or just in general, when, there's certain weaknesses I may have and certain strengths that she has and vice versa. When you put them together, it's strong. There's nothing that can get through there. That's where the two shall become one. Because two better than one. Not gonna go too deeper than that. We'll talk about that in more in depth in other episodes that's to come. But it's really the gist of it, man. We want to, we showcase this type of love for one another because it's one, the way God designed it, because Jesus himself was a servant. Who are we to not be servants to each other? So it's only right that we do that. It's shown proof that it works in the Bible. For those who are believers, we are believers, and since we know that it works there, we know it works here. We're actively doing it. So
and it's proven.
What more can we say?
Not much. I think we've covered it a little bit. Yeah. But we would love to hear your thoughts, your input, like questions, comments, not concerns, because there ain't concerns, but just talk to us in the comments. We'd like to hear what you have to say about being, selfless, and whether or not that's been a struggle for you in your marriage, or it's come naturally and easy to you, or maybe it came natural to you but not to your spouse, and how did you work through that? So those are the type of things that we would like to discuss, and hopefully we could take some of your comments and bring it back to the podcast and talk it through.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you for watching. We thank you for sharing and liking and just being active on our page. We appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
And good night.
Good night, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good everything.
Stay blessed, y'all.
Talk to y'all later.